Hi, this is Kendra from Pencil and Pigment, and for the month of December I'm doing Decembered, that drawing challenge, but I am doing watercolors instead. And today I am watercoloring a red-tailed hawk, and hopefully you'll be able to see I have a layer of pencil to make sure that I like where it's at on the page and that everything's sort of proportional. But for a 10-minute video I really can only get down the first layer of paint. Again, where I live is super humid. It takes a while for things to dry. But today's is story time, and my husband just came in like right before they left. This is the time they go walk the dog, and this is sort of my hour to myself to listen to things and paint and sort of just uninterrupted my time. But he just made me laugh. So a long time ago, like a couple years after we got married, but before we had children, I finished my degree first. I have a Bachelor of Science in Design, and he was still working on his. He has a Bachelor of Arts in Environmental Studies with a minor in biology, and he works in his field. But I decided it would be super fun because he was still in school and I was kind of bored. I was like, oh, I'm gonna get a job working for an airline. Not really fully understanding what that entailed, but knowing that you get free flight benefits for you and your family. And I was like, I want to do some traveling before we have kids, because we knew we wanted to have kids and stuff. And so he could not remember the name of TSA. TSA is the Transportation Security Administration. They're the ones that like check your luggage, check you, make sure when you board a plane you're going through, like they check to make sure there's no weapons or anything on that can hurt you or anyone else. He kept calling them, and I'm so glad I'm not monetized, oh my god. He kept calling them TNA, and I'm like, no, it's TSA, you can't call them that. And I just got a flash. So TSA would check employees too. I don't know if people know this, but there's some things I'm sure I can't talk about. You sign a lot of things when you work for an airline. But one of the things is we would be on the tarmac and we would go from sort of the check-in desk to the gate where people would get on the plane and stuff. And I had clearance. I was allowed to actually drive on the tarmac. I had taken extra tests and all kinds of things, and had international clearances and all kinds of stuff. Just because I wanted to take all those tests and be super helpful. But it was a very fascinating job, but he couldn't remember the name, and it made me laugh so hard. But they would do spontaneous checks for employees to make sure that employees didn't have anything on their person that was dangerous or problematic. And they would wand us when we were working on the job, and we would have to stop everything we were doing on the tarmac and get wanded. And I just remember the back of my bra has a metal hook, and it would set off their wands every time. And so when he was calling it TNA, I was like, well, you're not far off. Like, that's not inaccurate. Oh gosh. Okay, so this is supposed to be a story of how we met. And we actually met before we met. So my husband and I both grew up in the same city, which, there's my cats, had over 500,000 people in it, but completely surrounded by other cities with hundreds of thousands of people. So easily a million plus. Like when you graduate from high school, you say bye to your friends. If the two of you never leave the city or move away, you still may never see them again because it's so big. So I'm just trying to give you like a breakdown to big city living if that's not something you currently have or have ever had. It's something I grew up with, so that's not strange, but where I live now, that would be very weird. So he and I actually grew up less than 10 miles from each other, and we have joked about it because we have gone to some of the same huge events and things in other huge cities hours away, and both have like the same freebie baseball card giveaways at the same events and stuff. Like we both kept all that. And we met at a local college bar because I knew one of the bartenders. And after dating for a couple months and stuff, he actually lived in a house with a ton of roommates. Like, he had a lot of roommates. And I lived alone, and I just, like, it was my own thing. We met sort of in the wintertime, and I had a fire going in the fireplace all the time, and I'd just be doing my homework, and I didn't have a TV. It was just very mellow in my house. So he was always doing homework at my little apartment that I was renting by myself. And just remember one time I left to go pick up some groceries or something, and he was still working on a project. And I came back, and he had the weirdest look on his face. And he's like, oh, is that an ambulance going by? He's like, you have a picture of my ex-girlfriend on your dresser. And I'm all, what? And he's like, yeah, you have a picture of my ex-girlfriend on your dresser. I'm like, okay, you have to show me. I have no idea what you're talking about. And I had gone to a community college before I transferred to a major university. And just to save money, and it was just way easier, honestly. Get some of that undergraduate work done. Sorry, there's an ambulance going by. Shout out to our first responders. This stuff makes my dog howl so much. Anyway. And one of my classes, the teacher was like, hey, I hate to do this. I have a terrible memory, but can everybody just sort of stand next to each other, and I'm going to take some group photos. This was like an art history class I took. She's like, could you stand next to each other? I'm going to take some photos. I'm going to cut everybody's head out individually, put it next to the names in my little teacher manual for when I go to take roll call and stuff for attendance. That way I can associate a name with a face, because I'm just so bad with names. And we were like, yeah, we're all visual learners, we're all artists, we get it. And the woman I was standing next to turned out to be my husband's ex-girlfriend. And I didn't know that, he didn't know that. We both went to the same community college at the same time. I never knew her, I never spoke with her. She didn't really show up to the class a lot. He's like, yeah, I used to try and pick her up from every class, but I could never get to that one. And I'm like, oh man, we literally were just like going circles around each other and never met until one night at a bar. And I knew the bartender. We had gone to school together in second grade. And I ran into him again in college, and he's like, hey, come to this bar. I'll get you free drinks. And I was like, oh, okay, back when we used to drink and stuff. And, oh man, I just, he came over and offered to buy me a drink, and I was like, nope, I'm buying you one. You are cute. And that's how we met. And then we got to talking about all the different, like, things we did in our childhood, like which baseball games we went and saw in neighboring cities and all these things. And I was like, I was at that one too. And he's like, so was I. I'm like, oh man, we probably in our lifetime walked past each other, saw each other our entire lives, and then did not meet until we were 22 years old. And then we got married when we were 25. We had our eldest at 28, and then we had the twins. I was 31, he was 30. I'm a couple months older than him. But I just, oh, that was so bizarre. Oh, there's a cat here. Anyway, life's just kind of like that, you know, in big city living. Where we live now, it's about 2 to 3 degrees of separation. So you meet someone, and odds are they know someone that knows someone that knows you. So it's very strange. Like, we had a guy come and with his company and trim the massive trees in our backyard. And he knew someone that knew someone that knew us. And I was like, that's weird. And he's like, no, that's where we live. That's how it is here. And I'm like, oh, so does that mean I get a discount, or like, he's like, no. Okay, cool. It's been a little bit of an adjustment that everybody knows everybody, and everybody gets to know you. Like, everybody at the grocery store knows who we are and stuff. It's cute. The story of how my husband and I met just always makes me laugh, because who knows how many times we walked by each other, or, you know, missed each other by minutes at shopping at the mall, or going bowling, or at the billiards hall and stuff. Dance clubs. We didn't go to any of the same schools, but we knew some of the same people. because some of the same kids would like transfer schools and stuff. So they went to my school, they went to his school. The whole thing, it just makes me laugh every time. But yeah, I've had some interesting jobs. I worked at an art gallery for a little bit. I worked in an art supply store. That was actually like my second ever job. And I had that one in part of high school. I got that one in high school, and then I would leave high school early my senior year and go to work at the art supply shop, and that was really fun. I liked working around art supplies. Oh, the temptation. So you can see I've been tempted my entire life with art supplies. I hope this video is interesting. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.